Hello friends, welcome again to the environmental awareness course. Our second chapter, the natural resources. In this natural resources, introduction, renewable and non-renewable resources, forest resources, water resources, mineral resources, food resources, energy resources, land resources, role of an individual in conservation of natural resources. So now in this second chapter, the introduction of the resources, our environment provides us with a variety of goods and services necessary for our day-to-day life. Natural resources include air, water, soil, mineral, along with the climate and solar energy. Everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally acceptable, can be a term as resources. Resources can be classified in the following ways. On the basis of origin, biotic and abiotic. On the basis of exhaustibility, renewable and non-renewable. On the basis of ownership, individual, community, national and international. On the basis of status development, potential, developed stock and reservoirs. Types of resources. On the basis of origin, biotic resources. These are obtained from biosphere and have a life, such as human being, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. Abiotic resources. All those things which are composed of non-living things are called abiotic resources. For example, rocks and metals. Now in the resources can be classified into natural resources and human resources, renewable and non-renewable. So on the basis of exhaustibility, renewable resources, the resources which are renewed or reproduced by physical, chemically process are known as renewable, or it replenished by nature. It is multiplied by in nature. It is renewed again. So these resources called as renewable resources, for example, solar, wind energy, forest, water, wildlife, etc. Renewable resources may be further divided into a category, non-renewable resources. These occurs over a very long geological time. Minerals and fossils, fuels are the such examples. These resources take millions of years in their formation. Some of the resources like metal are recycled and some like fossil fuels cannot be recycled. It get exhausted with their uses. On the basis of ownership, individual resources, these are also covered, owned by privately or individually. Many farmers own land which is allotted to them by government against the payment of revenue. In villages, there are people with land ownership, but there are many who are landless. Urban people own plots, houses and other properties. Plantation, pressure lands, pastures, ponds, water in wells, etc. are some of the examples of resources. Ownership by individuals. Make a list resource owned by your household. Community owned resources. These are resources which are accessible to all members of the community or are common. For example, the playgrounds, village ponds, public parks, picnic spot are such example of the community owned resources. National resources. Technically, all the resources belong to nation. The country has legal power to even private property or a public. You might have seen road, canal, railway being constructed on the own by some individuals. Urban development authorities get improved by the government to acquire the minerals, water resources, forest wildlife within the political boundaries and ocean area up to the nautical miles 22 km from the coast term as a terrestrial water and resources. They are being belong to the national resources. International resources. There are international institutes which regulate some resources. The oceanic beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone belong to the open ocean and no individual country utilize these without the concerned international institution on the basis of status development. Potential resources. Resources which are found in the region but have not been utilized. For example, the western parts of India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, have enormous potential for the development of a wind energy, but so far have not been developed properly. Stock resources, minerals in environment which have potential to satisfy human needs, but human beings do not have the appropriate technology to access these are include among, for example, water is a compound of two inflammable gases, hydrogen and oxygen, can be used as a rich source of energy, but we do not have the required technical know how to use them for this purpose. Hence it can be considered as a stock. Developed resources which are survived and their quality and quantity have been determined for utilization. The development of resources depends on technology and level of their feasibility. Reserve resources are subset of a stock which can be put into use with the help of existing technical know-how, but their use has not been started. They can be used for meeting future requirements. River water can be used for generating hydroelectricity power, but presently it is being utilized only to a limited extent. Thus, the water in the dams, forests, etc. is a